think quite a few are already here, so I would say let's start. Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Elizabeth. I'm the one from who you got all the invitations to this webinar. I am program manager of Elevate, TheVentury's in-house accelerator, but more to that later. With me today is Valentin, our head of startup services. And we're here at our first startup snack. We're super excited to have everyone here. As TheVentury is turning 5 years old soon, we decided to pass on some of our knowledge. We already did a tech snack series, and this is the first of 3 startup snacks. So if you have any questions, again, please, or comments, please write them in the chat. In the end, we will have a 10-minute Q&A session where you can also unmute yourself and ask. So let's start with a short introduction to TheVentury. Well, if you could go on to the next slide, please. So TheVentury is an innovation agency. We combine hypothesis-driven methodology with hands-on execution power in growth marketing, data and software engineering, as well as innovation management. So we're working together with established companies as well as with startups. And one of our core programs is actually Elevate, our in-house accelerator for early stage applied AI startups. And we do all this to come closer to our mission, which is to become the leading partner for a new generation of innovators who responsibly execute solutions that make a positive contribution to society. But enough of self-promotion now. I will hand over to Valentin.
Thank you, Lisa, for the warm introduction, and a warm welcome to all of you guys. As Lisa said, my name is Valentin. I'm the head of startup services here at TheVentury and one of the partners. And today we'll speak about idea validation and how to quickly test if your idea is stupid or not. And as Lisa said, please, if there is any questions, please just type them into the chat or raise your hand, and I'll try to answer them also during the presentation. But however, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So we'll hear about how to quickly test if your idea is stupid or not, and you will also learn what this question has to do with a ball and a bat. And to have a small icebreaker and to also encourage active participation, I want to start with a small riddle. And the first person that gives me the correct answer to this riddle actually will be invited to a burger in my burger restaurant, Die Burgermacher. So the first answer that I hear gets this amazing burger. So here comes the riddle. If a bat and a ball together costs $1.10 and the bat costs $1 more than the ball, how much does the ball cost? Don't be shy. Give me your answers.
$0.05.
5 cents. Damn it! This exercise never works for me. I always get the correct answers. Either I have too many smart participants in my workshop, or yeah, I don't know. Yes, unfortunately, it is the correct answer, 5 cents. However, I would have accepted every answer. But for the people of you who thought that 10 cents was the correct answer, and for the people who felt the urge of saying 10 cents, even they knew that it was a trick question, you're not alone with this problem. And actually, it's 74% of all the Harvard students answering this question with 10 cents. And it is a good example of a very common problem. Our brain tries to give us easy answers to complex questions. And this is what it has to do with testing your ideas. our brain tries to give you easy answers to complex questions, questions that you're facing as an entrepreneur on a daily basis, questions about who your target audience is, questions about the media that they consume, or about how much you can charge for your product. And this is also a good transition to my own journey as an entrepreneur. In 2012, I was basically standing where you're standing today, or most of you, or many of you. I was about to start my first startup, SimpleWish. And actually, I had the opportunity recognition for SimpleWish when I was celebrating my bachelor degree with my friends, and I invited a couple of friends to the party. It was, I guess it was 50 or something like that. And I also see that some of these friends are here today. So I hope that you feel embarrassed. Yeah, so yeah, I was inviting 50 of my friends to this party, and they actually almost all came, and they gave me 23 bottles of wine. So they're coming in to this location and handing me one bottle of wine after the other. And I had a little table standing next to the door, and there was this armada of bottles of wine standing there. And I'm not into wine at all. So it is one of those gifts you just bring because you don't know what to bring. And when I saw this group of bottles of wine standing there, I thought about the potential that was there. And if my friends would have just combined the purchasing power of those 23 bottles of wine, they could have given me something more meaningful. And this is actually what's triggered my opportunity recognition back then. And thinking about the underlying problem, I quickly realized that organizing group gifts really is a struggle. Spoiler alert, it's not, but I thought that is the biggest problem that we have, and we need to solve this problem, because organizing a group gift means that you need to get in touch with all of the guests to the party, people that you might not even know. It is organizing which gift to get this person, and then in the end, and this is the most annoying part, basically chasing the money and asking everyone to give you the money in cash on the party. And chasing this money is not only annoying, but it's also embarrassing. And yeah, so I thought that, hey, we need a solution for this. And actually the technology was already there. We had crowdfunding in other areas, and I thought that we could have something like a crowdfunding platform for parties, where you basically see a picture of the gift, a picture of the giftee, and then you have something like a crowdfunding bar, and each and every friend who is invited to the party gets a link to this site, and with online payment and several clicks can contribute to this group gift, and then you see this crowdfunding bar basically increasing, and once it reached 100%, we automatically ordered the gift. This was the vision, and yeah, after I had this idea, I was talking to some of my close friends, very carefully talking to them, saying that they, no matter what, are not allowed to share or spoil this idea with anyone else. And I was talking to some of my my former profs at university and tried to get myself some kind of first validation for that. I was asking optimistic questions, and they actually, all of them knew what I want them to say. So I got myself a couple of false positives, yeah. So this was basically enough to start this entrepreneurial endeavor for me. And I was also able to find co-founders for this journey, people that are still with me and in my network today, which is great. And this is the huge plus from SimpleWish. And we also had early successes in terms of cooperation partners. We are able to convince Amazon to do that together with us. And this was also our revenue model. We were basically organizing the gifts. The gifts were coming from Amazon, and we got affiliate provision from their side. And we also got first public funding, something like 150K. And basically, then we had everything. We had the team, we had the money, and what we did then thereafter was we locked ourselves in for a year to actually build everything. And yeah, after this year, we're coming closer and closer to the launch day, and we were super excited, and everything was prepped. We had PR campaigns. We had, of course, online and marketing campaigns. We also had offline campaigns accompanying the online campaigns. We were all set to go. And yeah, and then launch date came closer. We were getting nervous and nervouser from one day to the other, and had super high expectations. And then there was the launch day. And then came the big disappointment, because nothing happened. So there was not tons and thousands of people coming to our website and using our services. Of course, there was early traction that we had, because we, of course, also invested a lot of money into it, but people didn't really seem to care. And this was nerve-wracking for us. We invested so much time. We invested a year. We invested a lot of our money and passion and nights into that, and it was horrible. We didn't understand. So we really tried everything. We redesigned the website a couple of times. We experimented with our ads and with the texts and the images that we have there. We had usability studies with universities and tried to increase and improve the usability of our website, because we thought that people don't understand what we're doing there. We tried everything, but nothing really seemed to work. But we also couldn't let go. And that was the first time that we familiarized ourselves with a new methodology that was just at the beginning back then in 2012, and that there was lean startup and customer development. And this is also the first time that we actually started to talk to clients. And this is also what today's workshop is all about. Today's session is all about how to quickly validate your ideas by talking to clients. The first step that you have to do as an entrepreneur, and the first step that we also did in hindsight back then, was we came up with a list of the most crucial hypotheses of our business model. You just see a selection of them. I chose 6 of them that are very easy to understand. The first one was users from our customer segment buy gifts on Amazon. Second one was users from our customer segment organize group gifts at least once a year. Our client uses online payment to pay for food. We use this proxy to pay for food to indicate that it is something that is very common for this person. It is not like transferring money once every month, but to really use it on a daily basis. Users from our customer segment contribute to group gifts more than 3 times a year. The average price of a group gift is above 100 euros, and on average, there is more than 6 friends contributing to the group gift. This was very critical hypotheses that we had, that are both value hypothesis and growth hypothesis altogether, and of course there would have been ways to test them without actually building a product for 150K and spending a year to do that. Now I know. Back then we did that, and yeah. But with those hypotheses, the team and I, we actually went out on the street and talked to clients, and I can remember a very particular situation that was also the turning point for me. I was doing an interview with a woman in the Arkadenhof of the University of Vienna, so in the gardens of the University of Vienna. And so I had this introduction so that I want to talk about gifts, and if they could spare 10 minutes with me. And so I was approaching her, and I asked her if she knows what group gifts are, and she said, "Of course I know what group gifts are. We usually tend to always organize them in our circle of friends." And then I asked her when was the last time that you did it, and then she started on her own to really tell me half an hour about her experience with group gifts, which was amazing. And she said that she's always this person in her circle, in a group of friends, that has to organize this because no one else really seems to care, and it is too exhausting for them to do that and annoying, and she always has to do it. And and chasing the money. This is the most annoying part. And I was like, oh my goodness, I just found ourselves the target client. We just need to understand where we can, how we can best segment her or find segmentation criteria for this person, and then look for more of them. And I was super hyped initially. And I said, okay, and then she said, yeah, and I'm about to organize another group gift, and it is for one of my best friend's birthdays next weekend on Monday, and it was a bracelet from yeah, not important, but it was available on Amazon. And I said, so okay, thank you very much for all of those insights. Actually, we built a solution to target people like you, and to help you to help you overcome this pain of organizing group gifts. Turned around my laptop, gave it to her, and say, so this is the platform. It's called Simple Wish. Please try to use it for this present. And she was super excited, and she said, oh wow, that's so cool. Okay, and she started to use the platform. She created create a new group gift, and it was child's play. It was really playful for her. She understood everything. The usability was not an issue at all. She said, okay, now I can drag the URL of the product from Amazon. And then it was this magic moment where everything synchronized. You all of a sudden saw the picture, you saw the price, and you saw this crowdfunding bar, and she was super happy with it. And then she said, okay, now here can click on invite friends, and I can share the link with my friends, right? And I said, yes, exactly. And then they can come to the page and directly pay at the page, right? And I said, yes, exactly. And you no longer have to chase the money anymore. And she said, okay. And I saw that all her enthusiasm was gone. And I was super frustrated, didn't understand the world, and I said something like, yeah, I get the feeling that you are no longer really happy with the solution. And she said, no, I'm not sure what's happening right now, but something is weird, and we couldn't nail it down. So she went away, and I was destroyed. I couldn't believe it. I knew that we were onto something, and I knew that if we just could solve that this is also probably the answer to where our problem was. So I chased her. I went after her and I said, hey, you can't leave me like that. We need to figure out what the problem was. And then I asked her if she could tell me the name of 3 of her friends. And she said, yes, of course. There's Maria, Kuros, and Lisa. And I said, okay, and how would they respond to this solution if you sent them the invitation? And she said, oh, Maria would have loved that. She's a very innovative person, and she would do it immediately. And she was probably also use it for her own birthdays. Maria. I would also send it to Kuros, but I would probably also give him a call to just say that it's not fishy, and that I even know the founder of the company, which is not a very sustainable marketing activity for me. But yeah, okay. So I would have given him a call, given him a call, and to just say that it was not fishy. But Lisa is not into those innovative solutions, and she doesn't really like to use online payment and also register on platforms that she doesn't know. So I don't know. In the end, it's not that big of a deal. Because if I would create this now, I would probably exclude Lisa from participating in the process. I think that I would rather do it the old-fashioned way. And yeah, this kept repeating in different forms and shapes, but this was one of the biggest insights for us. And yeah, where's this coming from? Actually, if we would have tested our hypothesis thoroughly at the very beginning, we would have realized that not all people in our customer segment use online payment to pay for food on a daily basis. That this is something that is not all of them do it, but some people are just not happy with it. And you could say that, but it would be good enough if it was 80 or 90%. In our case, and for this business model, it is crucial because there's always this one Lisa. Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa. There's always this one Lisa in a circle of friends that then basically leads to the situation of the organizer stopping the process there. And we also saw that on a quantitative level, that we're able to acquire lots of customers, but then they stopped the process there, created the gifts, but then didn't invite people. And we were really successful once the gifts were created and sent out to friends. I think in 90% of all the cases, we were able to organize we had a completion rate of 100. In 90%, 100% of the amount was being paid. And another hypothesis that we had in there was also really invalid, and that was the customer, the cost per click and the conversion rate that we initially estimated. We thought that the cost per click was around 30 cents, which was close to reality, I guess. But then we thought that we had a conversion rate of 10%, so that each of the clients, each of the users coming to a page, that 10% of them are actually converting into a group gift, which was insane. And this would have led to customer acquisition costs of €3 because we had to pay that 30 cents for all of the users, but if only every 10th user actually starts the process, then this means customer acquisition costs of €3. And there was the original estimation, and we were somewhere between 40 and 50 euros. And which of course didn't make any sense given our business model back then. We earned 10% via Amazon affiliate provisions. Now here's the bummer, and that's that we are not alone with that. 90% of all startups out there fail, and this is no longer surprising if you have a closer look at the definition of what is a startup. According to Eric Ries, a startup is a human institution designed to create a new product or new service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. So something that is new to the market, a new product or new service, and conditions of extreme uncertainty. Of course, this leads to a lot of startups failing. And there's more. There's the liabilities of newness, the liabilities of smallness. The liabilities of newness basically say that you don't have empirical data about the market. You don't know suppliers. You don't have established relationships with financial institutions. You don't have access to existing customers. There's the liabilities of smallness, which means that you have less capital, both cash and also human capital. And of course, and this is the worst part, there's the biases of the founders. And there's tons of them. And before I dig into them, I want to quickly give you an excursus into neuroscience and to tell you a bit more about where those biases are coming from. According to neuroscientist Thomas D, who is one of the leading neuroscientists, I think teaching on Stanford University, he actually discovered in a research study with Google where they tried to find out how the human brain processes information, and I think that it's targeted towards brain-to-machine communication, something that's really scary. They discovered that in every single point in time, the human brain processes 11 million bits of information. Crazy, 11 million bits of information. And now a question to the audience. What do you think in total numbers, please not in percent, in total numbers, how many bits of information are processed willingly?
About 40.
So there's this one guy always stealing my answers. It is 40. So there's someone who knows the study. Okay, it is 40. It's 40 bits of information. Thank you for spoiling. Usually I get other answers than that. So yeah, but it is 40 bits of information. 40 bits of information. Does this mean that basically almost all of the bits of information that we process, that our brain processes, that this process happens unwillingly? Yes, it does. So, which brings us to the problem and the root of a lot of our biases. Who of you read the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman? Is there someone? Great book for all of you who
Yes.
didn't read it. This is one of the must-reads for entrepreneurs. It is a great book about how humans process information. And Daniel Kahneman, who also won the Nobel Prize for economic science, he basically said that there's two thinking systems. There's system one, which is the fast thinking system, and system two, which is the slow thinking system. System one is there to use heuristics, to use your gut feeling, to process all the 11 million bits of information, to kind of maintain all these automated processes that you do as a human. You don't need to think about where to put your foot next when you're walking. And that not really, now I'm doing it, of course, but I don't really need to think about the next word that leaves my mouth. So this is all the automated processes. But there's also system two that is there to answer very complex questions that system one can't answer. It is things like how much is 12 multiplied with 48? This is, you might feel this basically almost this, you might feel this your system one blocking. You might feel yourself trying to come to an answer without thinking too much about it. And maybe even hoping that some of the group now will finally reveal the correct answer. And this is system one trying to reduce the amount of energy that is being spent by the human brain. And system one tries to use heuristics, so rules of thumb, to understand, to process information, to get an understanding of the reality. And while and on its quest to reduce this energy, it constantly creates suggestions for system two with potential answers. And if they are being endorsed by system two, they become beliefs. And it's things like if when we were back in the days of Simplewish, we were sitting there in our offices and we asked ourselves whether or not our target audiences uses online payment. And what we did was, to answer these complex questions, we basically replaced it unwillingly by, do we use online payment? This is one of those examples. And of course, this is we were tech nerds. We are very in the end homogeneous group of people, and we all used online payment. That's why we said, okay, then we are digital natives. Our target audience is digital natives, so they will use online payment. So yeah, and this, while this was really cool 1.8 million years ago, when we quickly had to decide whether this shiny thing in front of us was a stick or a deadly snake, it's not that cool anymore in our days, when there is not a lot of deadly snakes hiding behind Wi-Fi routers. And yeah, this is the basis for a lot of those cognitive biases. I just added 3 of them. There's a whole list of cognitive biases on Wikipedia. Have a look at them. Those are three biases that I often see with entrepreneurs. There's the optimism bias, and don't get me wrong. Optimism is one of the most important traits that you need to have as a founder. You need to be able to convince people. You need to be able to convince co-founders, investors, and sometimes also customers to buy your solution, to buy into your vision. But optimism and the tendency to be over-optimistic can also block you from accepting facts. If the idea becomes the sole value of your business, then you will try to do everything to secure and to protect this value, and then neglect facts coming from market. There's a representativeness bias that I already mentioned. So where we have the tendency to think that you are very representative for a whole group of people, that is your target audience. So instead of asking, the thing that I mentioned. Instead of making a thorough examination of whether or not our target audience uses online payment, we just basically replace this question by a way easier one. Are we using online payment? And there's the confirmation bias. And this is really bad, because even if you try to work in a hypothesis-driven way, you will most probably find yourself endorsing and accepting facts that support your own beliefs rather than neglecting them. And there's a very nice picture that I found in the New Yorker once. I really like. Let me interrupt your expertise with my confidence. I also like it because it shows the dynamic of the gender role involved here. Usually, male founders have a higher tendency for cognitive biases. So a diverse team in a startup does the trick. Okay, now we talked a lot about failing and that 90% of all the startups fail, but the good news is that there's also a solution to this problem. And the solution is hypothesis-driven entrepreneurship. And the solution is lean startup and customer development. So again, book recommendation, read it. Read Lean Startup, inhale it, and breathe it later on. And also custom development. There's a book called the Startup Owner's Manual, which gives you a very good process of how to proceed in the very early stages of a startup. It basically follows all the same narrative, and this is Steve Blank, also the author and the person who coined the term customer development, who says that there are no facts inside your building, so get the heck outside. This should be your mantra as an early stage startup. And the process that you can follow by doing that is the so-called customer discovery process. So as a first step, and this is also what you just saw and what we did, you state all the critical hypotheses. You will find them in your business model canvases, in the lean canvas, or maybe also in your business plan if you have one. These are all considered to be critical hypotheses. And there's the so-called leap of faith assumptions. Those are the ones who can make or break a startup. So test them first, of course. And then as a second step, you will go out and talk to your clients, not to validate the solution in the first place, but to rather understand if there was a problem in the market. You will try to find out who your customer was and what the problem was. And only then, after you have problem validation, you will proceed and start building a solution. And yeah, learn from the customer what the problem was, and then you, with your entrepreneurial trait, you will create the solution for it. This would be the ideal process. Talking to customers is not easy, and this brings me to the most important part of today's presentation snack, and this is how to talk to them, and to the first approach of how you can test if your idea was stupid or not, and this is qualitative testing. And yeah, the question was how to talk to customers and learn if your business is a good idea when everyone is lying to you, because this is what you will see. As long as you're not talking to sociopaths on the street, people will always want to end conversations in a positive way, and it costs people a lot of energy to say that your idea sucks. Yeah, as soon as you put it there, the ego, as soon as you talk about the idea, there's the ego in the room, and then there's also the ugly baby effect. No one will ever tell you that you have an ugly baby. Yeah, which brings me to another amazing book, which is called The Mom Test. I didn't choose the title of this book. It could also be called The Dad Test. It just says, or the title indicates that the techniques that you learn from it are good enough so that you can do proper validation, even if it was your mother. And I will guide you through 2 dialogues, and then we try to learn what worked well and try to come up with rules of how to do customer interviews. So the first conversation, it is between a son and his mom, and whenever you see something written in italic, then it is what the person thinks. So the son says, "Hey, mom, I have an idea for a business. Can I run it by you?" He thinks, hey, I'm about to expose my ego. Please don't hurt my feelings. Mom says, of course, dear. You are my only son and I'm ready to lie to protect you. Son says, you like your iPad, right? You use it a lot. Yes, you led me to this answer, so here you go. Okay, so would you ever buy an app which was like a cookbook for your iPad? I'm optimistically asking a hypothetical question, and you know what I want you to say. As if I need another cookbook at my age. And it only costs $40. That's cheaper than those hardcovers on your shelf. I'm going to skip that lukewarm signal and tell you more about my great app. Aren't apps supposed to cost $1? And you can share recipes with your friends, and there's an iPhone app, which is your shopping list, and videos of the celebrity chef you love. Please just say yes. I will not leave you alone until you do. Oh, well, yes, honey, that sounds amazing. And you're right, $40 is a good deal. Will it come with pictures of the recipes? I have rationalized the price outside of a real purchase decision, made a non-committal compliment, and offered a feature request to appear engaged. Yes, definitely. Thanks, Mom. Love you. I have completely misinterpreted this conversation and taken it as validation. Mom, won't you have some lasagna? I'm concerned that you won't be able to afford food soon. Please eat something. So, guys, again, I need your participation. What did we just find out? Or in other words, how could the son, what types of questions did the son ask? And what did we learn?
Yes and no questions. So he led her actually to a concrete answer that he wanted to hear.
Yes, leading questions. Other inputs from you guys?
He already proposed a solution and didn't ask if she has problems. Right,
very important one. That's good enough. Thank you. That was great input. Okay, then let's look at another dialogue where it was done way better, and then we'll try to find out how in the second dialogue the son passed the mom test. Okay, so hey mom, how is the new iPad treating you? Oh, I love it. I use it every day. What do you usually do on it? Oops, we asked the generic questions, so answer to this probably won't be terribly valuable. Read the news, play Sudoku, catch up with my friends, the usual. What's the last thing you did on it? Get specific about examples in the past to get real concrete data. Your father and I are planning the trip. I was figuring out where we could stay. So she uses it both for entertainment and utility, which didn't come up during the usually answer. Did you use an app for that? A slightly leading question, but sometimes we need to nudge to get to the topic we're interested in. No, I just used Google. I didn't know that there was an app. What is it called? Younger folks use the App Store as a search engine, whereas your mom waits for a specific recommendation. If this is true more broadly, finding a reliable marketing channel outside of the App Store is going to be crucial. Where did you find out about the other ones you use? Dig into interesting and unexpected answers to understand the behaviors and motivations behind them. The Sunday paper has a section of the apps of the week. You can't remember the last time you crack open the paper, but it sounds like traditional PR might be a viable option for reaching customers like your mom. Makes sense. Hey, by the way, I saw a couple of new cookbooks on your shelf. Where did those come from? Business ideas usually have several failure points. Here it's both the medium of an iPad and the content of a cookbook. Mom says, they're one of those things you just end up getting at Christmas. I think that Marcy gave me that one. Haven't even opened it. As if I needed another lasagna recipe at my age. Aha, this answer is gold dust for 3 reasons. First, old people don't need another generic set of recipes. Second, the gift market may be strong. And third, younger cooks may be a better customer segment since they don't yet know the basics. What is the last cookbook you did buy for yourself? Attack generic answers like I don't buy cookbooks by asking for specific examples. Oh, now that you mention it, I bought a vegan cookbook about 3 months ago. Your father is trying to eat healthier and thought my veggies could benefit from a pinch more zest. More gold, experienced chefs may still buy specialized or niche cookbooks. Wow, we learned a lot. We learned that my mom might not be the right customer segment to start with, or if we try to target her, that we probably have to use specialized and niche recipes. We learned about potential channels of how to approach and target customers like my mother, and we also found out about the tendency to buy cookbooks, and there's a lot more questions that we could have asked. We could have asked if my mother actually once brought her iPad into the kitchen, and maybe she would have answered like, "Are you crazy? My new iPad into the kitchen where it gets all dirty." So we learned a lot. And now my question is, how did we pass the MOM test? What did we do better? And what are the rules that we can derive from this?
I mean, you used her answers to frame more questions.
Yes.
We asked her about her current behavior.
We asked her about the current behavior. So current behavior that is observable from the past. Very good.
About experiences.
Again?
About experiences she made in certain situations.
Yes. We asked about past experiences. One of you said, sorry guys, I don't see you, I only see a snapshot with 4 pictures. One of you said that that we basically in the first dialogue that we basically pitched our idea. Did this happen in the second part, in the second dialogue?
No.
Nope, didn't happen. We didn't talk about the idea at all. And this is also the 3 rules that we have for passing the MOM test. Talk about the lives instead of your idea. Don't start to tell your customers about your idea prior to finishing your custom development interview. Once you have it out there, once you put your ego in the room, once it is there, people will have very hard times to tell you that this is not a good idea. And you will get yourself a lot of false positives. So don't talk about your idea. Second rule, ask about specifics in the past instead of generics or opinions about the future. So ask always how they did something in the past, and not would you ever do X, Y, Z? Because people are creative, and I can always see myself in future scenarios doing crazy things if I don't know the specifics. And the third rule is talk less and listen more. Usually, so I've made the experience that that if it's a good environment, if it's not stiff or scientific, that people will tend to anticipate almost all of your questions if you just let them talk. And this is the scenario that you really want to have and to achieve. So, which also brings me to some recommendations. And how conversations can't go wrong. All feedback is good feedback. Always nod and happily smile, even if you inside of yourself you feel destroyed, because basically your customers are telling you that this is the stupidest ideas that they've ever heard, or you realize that there is no problem that you can actually solve. Be a fool, don't be too smart, don't try to anticipate things, but rather try to really get to the bottom of things and ask a lot. Yeah, if you're stuck in your process, so you will have something like a interview guideline with some of the questions. And if you're stuck, you can always ask for numbers, always quantify. So when was the last time? Okay, and how often do you do it in a month, on a monthly basis? And when, I don't know, things like that. You can always quantify. And be a kind scribe. So it is okay to write down the most important insights of an interview, but you should only talk if the other person is speaking. You should only write down and take notes if the other person is speaking. Once your interview partner stops speaking, you should also stop writing, because otherwise they will be in the situation to observe you, what kind of notes you're taking, and will feel a bit surveyed, and then maybe less open to really be honest with you. We have I think that we have 5 more minutes, Lisa. Could you just give me a thumbs up? Yeah, 5 more minutes is okay. Great. Then I would love to do a quick good question, bad question quiz with you, just to see if you got it. So I would ask you to kind of use a thumbs up and thumbs down for good question or bad question, and I'll count down from 3, and then you'll give me your sign. Good question, bad question quiz, and if the question would pass the MAM test and the 3 rules that we just heard of. Would you buy a product which did X? Good question, bad question. 1, 2, 3. Very good. I think that I see the 4 people that I see all have thumbs down. That's correct. Would you buy a product is not a good question. It's a hypothetical question, and you should rather ask them how they currently solve a situation and how much it costs them, and if they've searched for a solution. How much would you pay for it? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is always ambiguous. It is a bad question, even though it's one that you are always asked in market research. It is a bad question, and there's a very popular theory in the adoption of innovation called the bus model, that calculates how innovation is being adopted by a market. And in their model, they refine the intention and the purchase price priced by 50. They correct it by 50% because that's the best that they can do. People are always overestimating their purchasing power, and this doesn't really help you, especially if you're selling a very innovative product that doesn't have any analog products in the market. You could ask them how they currently solve the problem, and how much solving the problem costs them, and again, yeah, if they have searched for a solution. Talk me to the last time that happened. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Very good question, because it can also help you to, it helps you to put yourself in the shoes of your client. It can help you to understand processes and how people behave in certain situations. And it can also help you to come from a perceived problem to a real one. And last question, do you think it is a good idea? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, very bad question, because it basically means that you've already pitched the idea, which you shouldn't do. This is the last question now, sorry. Did you Google around for any solution? 1, 2, 3. Yes, I think this is a brilliant question, because it helps you to understand whether or not the person that you interview actually really had the problem. If the problem wasn't pressing enough to use Google it once, then you probably won't be able to sell to this client first as early adopter. Okay, next to all the qualitative ways of testing if your idea is stupid or not, there's also, of course, a lot of quantitative testing opportunities. Unfortunately, we only had 50 minutes today, so I can't dig into them, but I can give you a brief overview of them and how you could do this. In most of the quantitative testing scenarios, you will need something like a minimum viable product. I don't really like the term viable, because it indicates that you can use everything for it. It should be a remarkable product. It should show the market how your product stands out and how your product differentiates from the rest of the products out there. So it is about creating this one distinctive factor that can help you to distinguish from the rest of the market. There's different ways of how you can do that. There's A/B tests, there's fake door tests, there's audience building, there's concierge models and Wizard of Oz, there's mockups and video mockups that you can use, and many more. Google them or get in touch with us. This is my email address, and shoot me a mail, and we can exchange thoughts. And now I would be open for several questions prior to handing over to Lisa again to tell you a bit more about